Good morning. My name is George Randall, and welcome to You, Math, and Me. And today, we're going to be talking about classifying numbers. I didn't think you knew that numbers have a classification. We have natural numbers, and those are counting numbers, which are 1, 2, 3, 32, 40, and so on. We have whole numbers. Again, they are natural numbers plus the number 0. We have integers. They are whole numbers and their opposites. And what I mean by that is 9, negative 9, 10, negative 10, 13, negative 13. We have rational numbers. Those are integers, terminating, and decimals. So you might have a number 11 and where a period is 7.65. We have irrational numbers. This little symbol here represents pi. And pi is infinite. It just runs on and on and on and on. And the last is real numbers, which is a combination of rational numbers and irrational numbers. And by the way, for future reference, you can contact me, gerandall22@gmail.com. Now, another subject matter. Now that we've classified these numbers, we're going to be working with them on our basic math. We're going to be working with them as we approach quadratic equations. But today, we're going to talk about fractions. And again, with these fractions, we'll see how our basic math, again, I talked about our cousins, addition and subtraction, multiplication and division, and how they come into play with fractions. And the first thing I want to do is just draw that old pizza pie. And again, it's not perfect, but you know when you go to get that pizza, it's usually divided in 8 parts, right? And we'll count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, and the reason I start off with this pizza pie, because you may want 2 slices. And so 1 slice is 1/8 of the pie. 2 slices, another 1/8. And we're going to add, there we go, basic addition. And the way we do that, we have some identities here for fractions. This is 1/8 of the whole 8 over 8 pieces. Okay? So, again, I said 2 slices of pie. So we add the numerators. 1 plus 1 equals 2. And we repeat this, what is called the denominator, and you've got 2 slices of pie. Now what we do over here, we're going to color those pieces. Okay? And how many pieces do we have left? We started out with 8. We subtract 2 pieces. And again, we keep that denominator and we subtract 2 from 8. And you get 6. And remember what I said in checking our cousins' subtraction? If we add 6 plus 2 will get us 8. And again, 8 pieces of a pie, which equals 1 whole pie. Okay. Now, let's talk about this pie some more, because as we go on in our fractions, we'll talk about the word simplification. In other words, your teacher will want you to express 2/8 in simplest terms, okay? And we have 2/8. And I know that in order to simplify this, but let's look at that pie first. The pie. First we had it cut up in 8 pieces. 8 pieces, correct? And I said you were going to eat 2 pieces. Well, guess what 2 pieces of that pie is equivalent to? 1/4 of the pie. How'd I get that? Division. Look at this. Two divided by 2, and whatever you do to the numerator, you must do to the denominator. You'll hear me say whatever you do to the left side of the equal sign, you must do to the right side of the equal sign. So look at this. Again, division. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Watch this again. That wonderful cousin. 4 times 2 is 8. 1 times 2 is 2. Now, we've eaten 1/4 of the pie. If we did 2 more slices, ate 2 more slices, how much of the pie is left? 1/2. So we know this also now, that 4/8, when simplified, and again, we're going to take the largest factor and divide by 4. And again, whatever you do to the numerator, you must do to the denominator. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 1/2 of the pie. And we go back with our cousins. 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Way to check. A way to check. Now that was some basic addition and talking about that pizza pie. Now let's look at simplifying a fraction. We got 21 over 28, okay? And here's the thing we can do. We're looking for the largest number that will go into 21 and 28 evenly. So, factors. And factors of 21 and 28. And factors are those numbers that will go into 21 evenly and those numbers that will go into 28 evenly. And when I say go in, we're doing division. Simple, basic math. Can 1 go into 21? Yes. Can 2? No. Can 3? Yes. Can 4? No. 5? No. 6? No. 7? Yes. 10? 9? 8? No. We get all the way up to 21. Those are the factors of 21. Now we got to list the factors of 28. 1, because it's an even number. 2, 3, no. 4, yes. 5, no. 6, no. 7, yes. 14 and 21. And the reason we list these factors, because we are, in order to simplify this fraction, we are looking for the largest factors, in this case 7, which will go into 21 and also go into 28 evenly. So, $21 divided by 7 is 3. 28 divided by 7 is 4. So, in simplifying 21 over 28, when your teacher asks you to do this, 3/4. And again, look at this. Cousins, 3 times 7, 21. 4 times 7, 28. We've got to know our basic facts. I've said it last week. I will be saying it all the time because it's imperative when we're taking a test that we're not over here counting 1, 2, 3 out of 7. We got to know those things. We have to know those basic facts. It is imperative. Now again, that was a fraction. There are other names for fractions. We have what's called an improper fraction. And we can use these same two numbers, 28 over 21. Okay? Now, that means that the numerator is larger than the denominator. Okay? And we've got to express this again in simplest forms. And when we do this, this line also says 28 in the house divided by 21. How many 21s can you get out of 28 without going over? 1. Again, we're back to our basic math. 8 subtract 7. I'm sorry, I gave you the answer. 8 subtract 1 is 7. And that remainder, which is what it is, becomes your numerator. And the way you express this 28 over 21 as now what's called a mixed number, which is 1 and 7 over 21. But is the 7 over 21 in simplest form? No, it's not. And what again, we'd have to list all the factors. But previously, we already know that 7's factors are 1 in itself. And 21, we just did 1, 3, 7, and 21. So look at this. 7 is the largest factor for simplifying this portion of this fraction. So again, and 7 divided by 7 is 1, again a basic fact. 21 divided by 7 is 3. And now we rewrite 1 and 7 over 21 as 1 and 1/3. And when you hand that in, it's correct. Okay? It's correct. And we've expressed this denominator 21 as a third now, because again, look at this. How many 7s make 21? You ready? We'll add them. That's 14. That's 2 7s. And add one more 7 to that 14, and that's 21. 3 7s make 21. We only had 1 7 of 21, which means it's 1/3 of 21. Even with fractions, we still have to know our basic facts. We have to know our basic facts. You cannot get away with not knowing our basic facts. Okay. Now, we've done two simplifications, one of a mixed number, or a compound fraction, improper fraction, and we've done of just a basic fraction. All right? And in a few minutes, we're going to talk about multiplication and division of fractions. And for a moment, we're going to take a break. And again, you can reach me at gerandall22@gmail.com. Thank you, and we'll be right back. Well, hello again, and we're back looking at what's called a mixed number. And a mixed number has a whole number and a fraction with it. And we say this 5 1/5, okay? And looking at a mixed number, it comes under the classification of what's called a rational number, okay? Now, what I want to do here is convert this fraction or mixed number into what's called an improper fraction. And guess what we need to know? Our times tables and our addition, the ability to add. And the way we re-express this is we say the denominator 5 times 5 is 25 plus 1 equals 26 over 5. We've converted 5 1/5 to 26/5, okay? And that says, again, 26 in the house divided by 5. How many 5s can we get out of 26 without exceeding 26? 5. 5 times 5, 25. And that remainder 1 becomes the numerator, and your divisor, 5, becomes the denominator. Wow. We're right back where we started. Converting mixed numbers to improper fractions. Now that I've shown you that, we're going to look at two things. Division of mixed numbers. 5 1/5 divided by 1 1/4. Now, we always ask this question. They say to you, estimate. Again, we got 5 pieces. This 1/5 represents one piece of the pie. And I'll try to draw this as close to being 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you do this, is that 1/5 going to make that 6, or is it closer to 5? I'd say 5. And over here, now we're just going to take away, and we got 4 pieces, and we're going to take away one of them. Is that 1/4 closer to 1, or is it closer to 2? And I would say 1. So we got, again, this is our estimation. 5 divided by 1 is 5. So that's our estimation. Now, previously I showed you how to convert this mixed number to an improper fraction. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 1, 26 over 5. Divided by 1, 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5 over 4. Now, the rule says for division of fractions to repeat the first improper fraction, but multiply by its reciprocal. And that means taking the 5, making it the denominator, taking the 4, making it the numerator. Okay? And now what we have is we multiply denominator times denominator, and 5 times 5 is 25. Numerator times numerator, we come over here because it's easier to multiply this way. 4 times 6, 24, carry, and 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. 104. Now, 104 can represent $1.04, and the 25 can represent 25 cents. And without going and writing again 25 in the 104, we're going to write it anyway. But real quick, how many quarters can you get out of $1? 4, right? And that 4 right there, and 4 times 25 is 100, right? And the 4 remaining is our numerator, and that divisor, 25, is the denominator. Is it in simplest form? Because that's all a part of this answer. Okay? I say yes. And the reason being, if we were to list the factors of just the 4, 1, 2, and 4, can any of those numbers go into 25 evenly? No, except for 1. So that wouldn't change the value. So 4 and 5/25 is close to 5. I'd hand that in. I'd hand that in. You've done all your mathematics correctly, and I would hand that in. Okay. That's a division of a mixed number. We did multiplication, added 1, multiplication, added 1, repeated the first number or improper fraction, multiplied by the reciprocal by moving the 4 to the numerator and the 5 to the denominator. Again, we multiply numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. And again, 104 divided by 25, which we did over here, 4 and 4/25, the answer. Now we're going to do something again. The only thing we're going to change, because we did a division first, supposedly the harder of the two. But all we're going to do now is put this symbol in there and change this to a 2. And again, we already said that this 1/5 makes this number close to 5, and now this is 2. So 2 times 5 is 10. That's our estimate. Okay? But we know our answer is going to be a little bit more because we're multiplying by more than 5 and more than 2. But the process is the same. We got to convert to an we got to convert these mixed numbers to an improper fraction. Again, 5 times 5 is 25 plus 1 is 26 over 5 times 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9. And let's change this a little bit because we need to make this a little bit quicker. We'll change this to this. And again, that'll be 10 over 4. Okay? All right. Now, something I didn't show you before, and that's what's called cross multiplication, because these are things, again, if we know our basic facts, it doesn't change the value of the fraction. Here are 2 factors. 5 can go into itself once. I'm sorry, I wrote a 5. I'm not perfect. Should be once. I said once. And 5 can go into 10 twice. 2 can go into itself twice, or 2 into 4 twice, and 2 into 26 13 times. And look at this. 13 times 2 you can do in your head. That's 26. And of course, 1 times 2 is 2. And now we have 26 divided by 2, and that's 13. That's close. And I said it was going to be more than 10 because of these guys. And that's how you do multiplication. And we added a step in there called cross multiplication. And again, what do you have to know? Your basic facts. Because again, I did some factoring earlier. 5 is the largest factor that will go into 5 and 10. 2 is the largest factor that will go into 4 and 26. I did not change the value by doing that. I didn't. And our estimate was 10, and we both agreed that because we had more than 2 and we had more than 5, our answer was going to be more than 10, but not much. If you had come up with 200, something like that, no, not good. Okay. So today, so far, we've talked about multiplication of fractions, division of fractions. We've introduced classifications of different numbers, and one other thing, word problems. Let's see. Real quick. We have to be able to read. We have to understand what we read in order to answer a math problem. For example, this is a quick one. The Nile River is 4,160 miles long. The Amazon is 25 over 26 miles as long. How long is the Amazon? Okay. First of all, the question is this. Is the Amazon as long as the Nile? No. It's a little bit less. As long implies of. of means multiply. So we have 25, we'll just use that 25, times 460 over 1. We're multiplying fractions. Now, I know the largest factor for 26 and 4,160 is 26. And usually they give you something easy. So 26 goes into itself one time, and 26, because of time, 160. And then 20, you're going to multiply numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. Bottom part's 1. And up here, 0, 30, 8, 0, 12, and 2 plus 1. And look at that. The Amazon is 4,000 miles long. And we're going to close right there. And I'm going to say again, if you need me, G.E. Randall, that's R-A-N-D-A-L-L, 22 at gmail.com. And I thank you, and I'll see you next week.